welcome to my new YouTube channel Cinta's Medical World. My name is Cinta Cijo, currently studying AB Psychology in University of Perpetual Health System, Delta, Philippines. So in today's video, we will be going to see the very basic things in the skeletal system, including the major divisions and the major structures. So without much delay, we can get into the video.
The skeletal system. The skeletal system consists of bones, cartilage, tendons and ligaments. It helps us in the movement. It contains about 206 bones, while the children's skeleton contains more bones because they are yet to be fused together. The skeletal system is divided into two: axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. Axial skeleton is made of the bones that form vertical axis of the body. Altogether, the axial skeleton contains 80 bones. It involves head, neck, chest, spine and their associated bones. So first of all, skull bones. The adults have about 22 skull bones and they are differentiated into cranial bones and facial bones. The cranial bones protects the brain and there are 8 bones, which includes occipital bone, 2 temporal bones, 2 parietal bones, frontal bones, the ethmoid bone, which help into forming the walls of eye socket and the orbitals, the sphenoid bone, also known as the wasp bone due to its shape. Then the facial bones make up the face and it contains 14 bones, which includes 2 maxilla, that is the bone that form the upper jaw, a mandible, that is the lower jaw, and the strongest bone in the facial skeleton, 2 zygomatic bones which forms the cheek bones, 2 nasal bones, 2 palatine that forms the floor of the nasal cavity and it separates the nasal and oral cavity, 2 inferior nasal concha which helps to filter and humidify the air we breathe, 2 lacrimal bones. These are fragile bones. It collects the tears or the lacrimal fluid. And a vomer bone. It forms the middle wall of the nasal respiratory cavity. Then we have the auditory ossicles. Altogether, 6 small bones are found within the ear canal in the skull. In the sense, 3 auditory ossicles on each side of the head. It involves malleus or hammer. There are 2 malleus or hammer on each side of the head. And the function of this malleus is to transmit the sound vibrations from eardrum to incus or anvil. Then we have the incus or anvil. There are 2 incus or anvil on both sides of the head. The function is to transmit the vibrations from the malleus to the stapes. Then we have the stapes or stirrup. There are 2 stapes or stirrup on both sides of the head. The function of it is to conduct sound vibrations to the inner ear. Coming to hyoid, there is one hyoid. It is a U-shaped bone found at the base of the jaw. It is a point of attachment for muscles and ligaments in the neck. Coming to the vertebral column, the vertebral column is made up of 26 bones. It includes 24 vertebrae and sacrum and coccyx. The 24 vertebrae is divided into 3: cervical vertebrae, thoracic vertebrae and lumbar vertebrae. The cervical vertebrae has 7 bones. It is found in the head and neck region. The thoracic vertebrae contains 12 bones. It is found in the upper back region. The lumbar vertebrae has 5 bones and it is found in the lower back region of the vertebrae. The sacrum is an anchor point that holds the spinal column with the pelvis. Coccyx is a triangular bony structure. It provides weight-bearing support to a person in seated position. Then we have the thoracic cage. It is made of sternum or breastbone and 12 pairs of ribs. That is 24 ribs. It forms a protective cage around organs including heart and lungs. Some of the ribs are attached directly to the sternum. Some are attached through cartilage, while some have no attachment point and it is known as floating ribs.
So we have completed the first part of the skeletal system, that is the axial skeleton, which includes skull bones, auditory ossicles, hyoid, vertebral column and also the thoracic cage. Now we are moving to the second part of the skeletal system, that is the appendicular skeleton.
The appendicular skeleton altogether contains 126 bones. We have seen that the axial skeleton contains 80 bones, and altogether axial and appendicular forms 80 plus 126 is equal to 206 bones. So the appendicular skeleton contains 126 bones. It consists of the bones that make up the arms, legs, as well as the bones that attach them to the axial skeleton. The first part of the appendicular skeleton is the pectoral girdle. The pectoral girdle is where the arms attach to the axial skeleton. It is made up of 2 clavicles or the collarbone and 2 scapula or shoulder blades that can be found on both sides of the body. Next part is the upper limb. Each arm contains about 30 bones. Those are humerus, radius, ulna, carpals, metacarpals and phalanges. There is 2 humerus. It is a long bone of the upper arm. Radius is one of 2 long bones of the forearm found on the thumb side. There is 2 ulna. It is the second long bone of the forearm found on the pinky finger side. There is 2 carpals, group of 8 bones found in the wrist area, 10 metacarpals, 5 bones found in middle area of the hand on both sides. There is totally 28 phalanges, 14 bones, each makes up the fingers. Next we have the pelvic girdle. It is commonly known as hips. It is the portion where the legs attach to the axial skeleton. Now, the pelvic girdle is made up of 2 hip bones, one for the each legs. Each hip bone contains 3 bones, that is ilium, ischium and the pubis. Ilium is the top portion of the hip bone. Ischium is the curved bone that makes up the base of each hip bone. Pubis is located in front part of the hip bone. Then coming to the lower limbs, each leg is composed of 30 bones which comprises of femur, tibia, fibula, patella, tarsals, metatarsals and phalanges. There is 2 femur on each sides of the legs. It is the large bone of the upper leg. Tibia is main bone of the lower leg which can be found on each legs. Fibula is the second bone in the lower leg found in the outer leg region. Patella is also known as kneecap. There is 14 tarsals altogether found in 2 legs, 7 bones that make up an angle for each legs. Metatarsals are the 5 bones that make up the middle area of the foot, altogether 10 bones. Phalanges are the 14 bones that comprise the toes, and counting on both legs there is 28 phalanges.
That's the end of the second part of the skeletal system, that is the appendicular skeleton, which consists of pectoral girdle, upper limbs, pelvic girdle and also the lower limbs. Here we have discussed about the major divisions of skeletal system, which includes the axial skeleton, which comprises of 80 bones, and the appendicular skeleton, which consists of 126 bones, altogether making the entire skeletal system with 206 bones. I hope you guys understood some of the basic concepts in the skeletal system. So this is the beginning of our new YouTube channel, Cinta's Medical World. Hope you guys would support us throughout this journey, and do subscribe the channel for more videos. And if you find this video is useful for others, please do share it with them, and you can mention your suggestions about the topics that you would like to see from me in the comment section. And till then, bye from Cinta's Medical World.